Wow. Well, yeah, that was fantastic. Was it the best way to end the show? Look, I still have my personal preferences, but on the whole, I found this finale to be extraordinarily satisfying. Wait, what? Oh, oh, you're telling me everyone else on the internet hated the finale? I'm the one who's watching the show wrong? Wait a minute. You're telling me I wasn't supposed to enjoy any of that television show that exists solely for, the purpose of our enjoyment? Man, wow. Yeah, look, life is already hard, complicated, even difficult to make sense of, like, most of the time, which I don't know, which really makes you wonder, what the hell is wrong with people who go out of their way to rage over something intentionally designed to be simple, dumb, fun? Any answers on that one? Anybody? Bueller? My name is Crumbine. I am a writer, filmmaker, and creative enthusiast. This is Emergency Creative, a place where I explore the creative choices that shape film, television, and, well, honestly, whatever the hell else I feel like talking about. And yes, go ahead and sharpen your pitchforks. We're diving into the boys' finale. Okay, look, no one is watching it wrong because there is no wrong way to watch something. Actually, yeah, strike that. If you still think Homelander is the good guy, or ever thought that, spoiler alert, you are definitely watching it wrong. There is an argument to be made, however, that all the hate this show receives is, I don't know, misguided? Seriously, it's like we're watching different fucking shows here. Don't get me wrong. It still felt claustrophobic in its scale. It was nowhere near as cathartic a finale as what we just got with Daredevil Born Again season 2. And yes, while Butcher's finale felt shoehorned, a touch on the forced side, it still aligned with his character and kinda almost honored Huey's plea for peace at the end of season 4, which, if you've been watching my videos, you know just how much I wanted to see that particular plot point bookended. So no, you are not watching it wrong, but damn, the hate for this trashy, pulpy Amazon show has gotten, guys, it is patently absurd. So look, before I get into the details, I want to set up my hat hanger perspective. It's how I at least attempt to meet a movie or show on its own terms and evaluate the creative choices it makes. Basically, looks something like this. What is the show hanging its hat on? Look at something like Godzilla vs. Kong. The movie clearly is hanging its hat on these two kaiju battling it out. Pretty fucking simple. Would it have been better if we had stronger human characters? Sure, why the hell not? But also, that's not what the movie is about, and it's not what the production is hanging its hat on. The Boys, from the start, was always hanging its hat on Homelander as a satirical metaphor for Donald fucking Trump. We know this because that is what the show tells us. It's also one of the few perfectly executed character arcs from start to finish. And it was the show's decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, that everything else came second to that foundational premise. I'll also add here a response to one particular harebrained comment about how the original comics were never about Donald fucking Trump. So, fuck me. First, Of course, the comics came out in 2006. No shit, they weren't about Donald fucking Trump. The show, stick with me on this one, is an adaptation. It doesn't follow the source material line for line or page for page. The showrunners are different people living in different times than the OG comics, and they crafted an adaptation that spoke very specifically to the culture and politics of the moment they were living in. You know, art doing what art does. So the show went all in on the Donald fucking Trump character arc. Homelander as the main character, not the heroic good character, but essentially still the heartbeat of the show. And to complete his arc, Homelander needed to be reduced to a powerless, sniveling weasel and exposed as such to America at large through a live broadcast. Because when you take away all the money and the power of the presidency, that is all Donald fucking Trump is. A DUM, dumb as rocks idiot, completely detached from reality and only exists for the love and adulation of his cult. And, you know, his own financial enrichment, of course. That's that's a big one with Trump. That love and adulation part, however, is important, especially in that final battle in the Oval Office. Homelander is on live TV, guys. He wants to be loved and seen as the hero, the god. And that's been the case from day one. Homelander's kryptonite is his desire to be loved. Just like Donald fucking Trump. And while Homelander is absolutely overpowered, I agree with y'all on that. It's kind of like Trump when he hovers his finger over the nuclear button. If Homelander pulls an OP move while on live TV, he knows he'll lose what little love he still has. This has been addressed multiple times throughout the series from the beginning. Also, and this is really important, people, he's not a real superhero. He doesn't actually know how to be a hero, and he certainly doesn't know how to fight people who, you know, do know how to be a hero and how to fight. Homelander's entire life has been marketing and promotions and just playing this role. So when this theoretically overpowered soup gets overpowered by the real heroes of the show, that just puts a fine point on the fact that Homelander genuinely has no idea whatsoever what the hell he's doing. Because he's an idiot. Just like Donald fucking Trump. And all he is really capable of doing is ruling by fear. When he let the plane crash back in season 1, Homelander says he couldn't have saved the plane if he wanted to, or he tries to argue that. But, like, he could have, right? At least, you know, slowed the descent for a water landing that would have resulted in a hell of a lot more survivors than, you know, what we ended up getting. The question is, was that a choice, or did he not know if he was actually capable of doing it, of rescuing an entire fucking plane? I think it was a little bit of both. Fighting and heroics in general involve thinking and strategy. Homelander is demonstrably not good at those things. So yes, I reject all arguments about Homelander being nerfed. He fought and lost exactly like a low IQ moron drunk on his own hype who is too dumb to know how to wield his powers effectively. Another observation to this point. If Homelander truly believed he was so OP in the first place, why the hell did he give a shit about the V1? Yes, of course, it started out as a way to inoculate him against the virus, but if this asshole had any real idea what the hell he was actually doing and how to wield his powers, I feel like he would have known he was powerful enough to neutralize the threat instead of staking all his hopes on something he didn't even know existed and Sister Sage proved was impossible to recreate. But he wasn't smart enough for that because he is an insecure, whiny, sniveling little baby who happens to be very good at play acting because that's what Vought had him do his entire fucking life. Oh, and of course we do have to address the whole Soldier Boy issue because he was only there because Homelander has very severe daddy issues, just like Donald fucking Trump. Wow! It's interesting how that through line stays so fucking consistent. Look, I am beating this horse because this is what the show decided to hang its hat on. And when you watch the show for this arc, well, it's pretty damn tasty, which doesn't mean there weren't other failures. And yeah, you can still not like that arc for the arc that it is. That's fine too. That doesn't change the fact that that was the arc and that was the story that Kripke and company set out to ultimately tell. My personal final diagnosis on the show is that it really did feel like Kripke had a complete 3-season plan that Amazon ended up stretching into 5 after the success of the first season. Also, at about $12 million per episode, the later seasons did start feeling weirdly small and claustrophobic, which, unfortunately, is exactly what happens when an ensemble cast of a popular show starts eating up more and more of the budget with their rightly deserved ballooning salaries. Ultimately, though, come on, guys. We're not dealing with high art here. The Boys is lowbrow, dumb fun built on a satirical takedown of Donald fucking Trump. Meet the show where it is. Let's talk very briefly about the finale with Butcher and Huey. This was all about character arcs, not plot. And that is important on television, way more so than movies, because we keep coming back, tuning in week after week, because we are invested in the characters. It's like catching up with old friends. Throughout the series, we got to see just how awful Butcher really was, how close his character could have been to Homelander. But even Huey acknowledged, he understood that if a person is capable of loving an animal, that was the whole point of Terror, then that person can't really be all that bad. So when Butcher loses his dog, damn, wow, that's a fucking devastating character moment, because we know what hangs in the balance. Butcher's very humanity. And no, while I did not get the whole give peace a chance ending that I personally wanted, Huey's actions in this final confrontation with Butcher do live up to those ideals. Yes, he had to shoot and kill Butcher to get his point across, but, you know, that point still remains. Hey guy, we don't need to genocide the Supes. We can just stop fighting. Life is messy and complicated, but outright murdering an entire race of people is not the solution, he says while murdering Butcher. Yeah, of course, it is not perfect. but it is satisfying, and there is a lot to love about The Boys. The finale and the show as a whole, almost as much as there is to hate, but you still need to see the show for what it is and meet it where it is at. It's brought to you, guys, it is brought to you by the same numbnuts behind Sausage Party. The whole show is a meta-satirical take on superhero franchise media, complete with stories stretched way too thin, spectacle over substance, and corporate mandates to milk the franchise dry. And at the heart of it all is the Donald fucking Trump metaphor. The big takeaway is, well, it's this. If expectation is the root of all heartache and comparison is the thief of joy, then let it also be known that the internet is the ruiner of everything. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like liking and subscribing. And if you are digging what I'm doing here, be sure to check out my feature film. It is free to watch right here on YouTube. And also, check out my novels. Abraham Owens is Punch Drunk and All Out of Fucks. It is very much in the spirit of The Boys. And the audiobook version is also right here on YouTube, free to listen to. Links for everything are in the description. Until next time, stay creative, friends.